Alright, let's talk about The Snow Queen. Another Russian movie, and probably their magnum opus, at least for the time period I am in. So, if you've been keeping track, I've had some mixed feelings about a lot of their previous movies. Um, I mean, some of them I liked fine, but yeah, there have been some that I thought got a little stale and were a little lacking in the, heart and soul, if you will. Um, so yeah, probably my favorite one up to this point was The Enchanted Boy. Um, and yeah, I guess The Humpbacked Horse is a pretty close runner-up. Um, but yeah, well, I guess I'll just get right into this one. It's fantastic. It's really good. Like, yeah, like Disney good. Like, it's in the same league as most of the Disney movies I've looked at so far. Um, yeah, so for starters, the animation is, as usual, gorgeous. They utilize rotoscoping very well. Of course, the most visually stunning part is the titular Snow Queen. Yeah, she just looks amazing in more ways than one. But yeah, I do like how a lot of the characters have like very simple designs. Um, I don't know. I think it's very charming. Um, I need a cough drop. Yeah, the story isn't too cluttered like all the other, or most of the other Russian movies are. It's quite straightforward. So yeah, basically it's about these two kids, a boy and a girl. They're best friends. Hold on a second. Yeah, so yeah, one night the girl's grandma is telling them a story about the Snow Queen, and tells them about I don't know how she casts a spell and makes everything cold or something, and then I don't know. Conversation leads to the boy like basically saying, "Let her come. I'll roast her over a stove or something." And yeah, the Snow Queen happens to be watching them, and she's triggered by this, if you will. Sorry, this cough's a little kind of nasty right now. So yeah, she casts a spell on the boy, and basically she makes it so he now hates the girl, and yeah, he starts picking on her, being really mean to her, and then at one point she shows up and basically takes him away to her castle. So the girl needs to yeah. So the girl sets out to find him. And yeah, along the way she meets a variety of unique characters. And yeah, this does feel a lot more straightforward than the previous Russian movies. Probably a major reason for that is because the other Russian movies were based on actual folk tales from Russia, whereas this one is based on a Hans Christian Andersen book. So yeah, fairy tale. Something that's not Russian, so yeah. So yeah, I do like how the girl encounters all these unique characters. And by the way, this is the the version that I watched was the 1950s American dub. So yeah, I could have watched the Russian version. I hear that might have been the best version, but it doesn't really make a difference to me as long as I see some good animation and some good characters. Doesn't really matter which dub I watch, but yeah, the version I watched was from the 50s, and apparently they made another English version later, which I hear wasn't that good, but and it had Kathleen Turner voicing the Ice Queen and a young Kirsten Dunst voicing the girl. Yeah, young Mary Jane. Also, Mickey Rooney voicing the narrator, who does look like elder Mickey Rooney, to be fair. Looks like he was born for that part. Sorry. Let's see. But yeah, here the narrator is voiced by Paul Frees. I've talked about him a bit in my Rudolph Shiny New Year review, and also June Foray. Those are pretty much the two big voice actors of the time. I think they're like two of the three. It's like the trinity of old voice actors the trinity of classic voice actors, the other one being Mel Blanc. But both of them do a good job with the several different roles they're each given. They do a different, unique voice. Granted, they're several of the voices you've heard somewhere before, like, for instance, Foray does, like, the granny / witch Hazel voice she always does. She does that in, like, almost every cartoon she's a regular voice actress for. But yeah, I think they both did a really good job with the roles they were given. Otherwise, I can't really say a whole lot about the voice actors. I will get to one character who I really liked in a bit, who I also liked the voice acting for, but the main girl, for instance, her voice acting wasn't the best, but also her character isn't like super interesting or anything, but she's endearing. And yeah, you want her to succeed in her adventure, find her boyfriend, if you will. He's not quite her boyfriend, but she wants him to be her boyfriend. You can tell right from the beginning. But yeah, they meet a variety of unique characters along the way, and I better just bring up the character that just steals the whole movie for me. The young thief girl. She's like the daughter of this lady who's the leader of this group of thieves. And thief girl. I forget the name of the lady who voices her, but apparently she went on to be a pretty big actress. But she's she's just a real character. And yeah, she's also kind of endearing. The problem with the time right now is that, like, I watched the movie this morning. Usually I do record these videos, like, right after I watch the movie. So, yeah, I'd have, like, a more fresh take. I'd probably be able to say everything better, but it's kind of hard to get everything out, like, hours after I've watched the movie and distracted myself with other things. But, I do think the characters, for the most part, were pretty memorable. There were some unique situations along the way. It's got some nice little character development. And yeah, it's a very nice, endearing story with with a pretty good villain. You know, she's not like Maleficent good or anything, but she's got a great presence. Her voice has a great presence, even if she's a little lacking in the emotion department. Anything else to talk about? Because I know there's got to be other things to praise about this movie. Because, yeah, it's a really good movie. I highly recommend this movie. Yeah, I rate it. Yeah, I think my rating for it would be a 9 out of 10. But yeah, is there? Oh, well, I do need to talk a little bit about the slight flaws. So yeah, I've talked a bit about my issues with like earlier Russian movies. One was just the lack of a personality. This one had much more personality than a lot of the previous ones. The only one that's in the same league is Enchanted Boy. But and I guess 12 Months was also it also had a fair bit of personality, but it had some flaws as well. But yeah, it's the only flaw that kinda continues in this one is the pacing can get a little slow at times. It works for the most part, but yeah. Okay, so the main problem with this stuff is like at the very beginning, it just, shows this guy who I guess is supposed to be pretty famous. He's like entertaining these kids at a birthday party or something, or actually I think it's Christmas. I forget, but like they have the kids opening presents, and yeah, obviously it's Christmas. And yeah, there's this stupid crap with this girl who opens a present, and she gets the book for the Snow Queen, and she keeps telling the guy to read it to her, and you know, at first he's just like putting it off, like, you know, it just goes. The scene just goes on and on with nothing happening, just these kids opening presents, and then finally, when he's ready to read her the book, he's like, "Oh, why should I read you the book when we have the movie? Yeah, why read the original book when you have the movie? The book is never better than the movie." But yeah, after that crap, they watch the movie magically through a mirror. Yeah, it's a pretty stupid opening. And then there's like the opening credits, and they play this. They play the opening song, and it's like this really cheesy, overly bouncy song about the Snow Queen, and it just does not fit. And then we see the narrator. He's like this little elf thingy, and he talks about how he casts a spell on the author Hans Christian Andersen every night, and has him. Yeah, he has these dreams about these stories, and they inspire him. And yeah, it's really cheesy, and yeah, the exposition being dumped on you. It's like really slow, and yeah. So yeah, the movie gets off to a pretty rocky start, specifically if you're watching the American version from the 50s at least. So yeah, it starts flawed and then gradually gets better. And then we get to an okay opening, and then yeah, once the adventure starts, that's where it starts picking up. Overall, yeah, I'd say it like starts off quite weak, and then over the course of the movie, it like gradually gets better, and then I'd say it peaks with the thief girl. I love the thief girl. She's just and then yeah, there's a solid ending, and then I also love the ending part where they're riding all the way back home, and they say goodbye to all the people they met along, or the girl met along the journey, and yeah, it's a nice ending. Yeah, this is a really solid movie, even if it starts off unpromisingly. And anything else I should talk about? If there is anything else, as usual, I will bring it up in the comments because, yeah, there's just so much to love about it. But yeah, I will say this movie is way better than Frozen, in my opinion. Yeah, I'll get to Frozen when I get to it, but yeah, this movie over Frozen any day. So yeah, again, 9 out of 10, could not recommend it enough. Definitely check it out. You will not regret it. So yeah, Mash it and Smash it, signing off.